All right, so today we're going to be doing a deep dive into this fascinating concept of holistic education.
Okay.
And we're going to be drawing from some information on the Planetary Citizens website,
Mm.
and specifically a document they have outlining something called the Spectrum Academy Project.
Right.
And what I found really interesting about this is this idea of a school kind of designed as a peer community
Yeah.
for young people aged 14 to 21,
Wow.
where they really have a say in shaping the learning environment.
Yeah. It's fascinating, isn't it?
So I guess maybe to kick things off,
Sure.
can you give us a little bit of context? Like, what does holistic education actually mean?
Well, you've probably heard the term holistic before, but when you apply it to education,
Yeah.
it really takes on a whole new meaning. It
Right.
goes beyond just, stuffing your head full of facts and figures.
Right.
It's really about recognizing that learning is about understanding the interconnectedness of everything.
Okay.
Your mind, your body, your spirit, your relationship to the earth,
Wow. Even the cosmos.
even the cosmos.
So is astronomy on the curriculum?
Well, I don't know about that,
Right.
but it certainly speaks to that kind of expansive view
Yeah.
of what learning can be.
Okay, so I'm intrigued already, and I'm wondering, how does this Spectrum Academy fit into all of this?
Sure.
And the document mentions it was first conceived back in 2002 as a potential solution to some educational challenges in Arizona.
Right. And it was, but I think the implications really extend far beyond that.
Okay.
Because what Spectrum Academy is really doing is taking this holistic approach
Mm-hmm.
and applying it to this really innovative idea of a peer community for these young people, where they actually have a say in how things are run.
Wait, so they're basically creating their own little mini society.
Yeah.
How does that even work?
Well, the idea is that you empower these young people to really take ownership of
Yeah.
their community.
Yeah.
And so they have this, what they call a peer community council,
Mm-hmm.
where they can make decisions collaboratively, obviously, with some guidance from adults. But it's this really fascinating blend of kind of youthful energy and experience.
That does sound fascinating.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of some of those alternative schools that have been popping up, but it seems like this goes even further.
Mm-hmm.
Would this be a residential program?
Yeah, the document mentions that it does have a residential component and a treatment component,
Okay.
but it's not just about therapy.
Right.
It's about, creating this space where these young people can actually heal emotional wounds.
Okay.
They can learn positive habits and ultimately become, healthy, productive members of society.
Yeah, and this document really struck me because it specifically mentioned some youth feeling like they're being drugged
Mm-hmm.
just to make them easier to manage.
Wow.
It feels like there's a real desire here to kind of dig into the root causes of disengagement and behavioral issues and create a learning environment where young people actually thrive.
Absolutely. And one of the key elements of this is actually this integration of technology.
Okay.
They have a community technology center, which kind of serves this dual purpose. Okay.
On the one hand, it provides training and resources for these youth to develop valuable tech skills,
Yeah.
but it also acts as kind of a social enterprise.
Okay.
So they use it to offer like subscription-based web services to local businesses and things like that, which then generates income.
So it's about giving them some practical skills that they can actually use out in the real world.
Exactly. And it's very much in line with this whole holistic philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about academics.
Yeah.
It's about personal growth. It's about economic empowerment.
Yeah.
It's about creating a sustainable community.
Yeah. And what I found really interesting is that Planetary Citizens has actually incorporated Spectrum Academy into their strategic plan.
right.
They're actually serious about building and demonstrating this model,
Yeah, they are.
which is exciting. But I have to ask, if this model is so promising, why haven't we seen it implemented more widely?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think it speaks to some of the challenges that we face in shifting away from those traditional models of education.
Mm-hmm. This approach requires kind of a complete paradigm shift.
Right.
It's about trusting young people. It's about giving them a voice.
Yeah.
Recognizing that they have the potential to be these active agents of change.
And that is a big ask, especially considering how deeply ingrained those current systems are.
It is.
But maybe that's exactly what we need.
Yeah.
This radical reimagining of what education can be.
I think so.
So let's unpack some more of the specifics here.
Okay.
What exactly are they teaching at Spectrum Academy, and how does this whole peer community council thing actually work in practice?
Let's get into that. Well, they're really blending, proven programs with some innovative approaches.
Sure.
The key is really, addressing the whole person, not just their academic needs.
So beyond the typical, math and science, what else are they focusing on?
Well, self-awareness, emotional intelligence, really understanding our place in the world, our relationship to the planet.
Yeah.
And I think, it's interesting because, science is finally catching up, right?
To what indigenous people have known for centuries,
Yeah, yeah.
which is that, all things are interconnected.
Right. And I remember reading about this in the Planetary Citizens material, this idea that, everything is interconnected.
Yeah.
Mind, body, spirit, earth, cosmos.
Exactly. And so it seems like Spectrum Academy is really trying to kind of bridge that gap
Yeah.
between ancient wisdom and modern knowledge
Yeah.
to create a truly holistic learning experience.
Yeah, it's not just about catching up. It's about taking those ancient ideas and building a model for the future of education that's both grounded and expansive.
That's right. And that's where I think the potential really lies.
Yeah.
This model could pave the way for, a new generation of learners
Right.
who are not only academically proficient,
Mm-hmm.
but also, emotionally intelligent, socially responsible, and deeply connected to the world around them.
And that's what's so compelling about this idea of a peer community.
Hmm.
The document mentions that it's, based on shared support and mutual agreement.
Founded on respect and responsibility.
Right.
So it's like taking those best aspects of community
Yeah.
and weaving it into the learning environment.
Absolutely. And it creates a space where these young people can really learn and grow together, not just from teachers, but from each other.
Okay. So how does this peer community council actually work?
So it's made up of the young residents
Mhm.
and then, alongside some adults
Okay.
who kind of offer guidance and support.
Okay.
And it's not about, the adults dictating.
So?
It's about really sharing that wisdom and experience.
I bet that leads to some pretty insightful, discussions and problem solving.
Yeah.
What kind of decisions does this council make?
Oh, all sorts of things, real world issues. Like
yeah.
imagine managing community resources, planning events, resolving conflicts. It's really hands-on experience
Wow.
in leadership and collaboration.
It's like a living laboratory for democracy and community building.
Exactly.
And it all ties back to that idea of holistic education.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just learning about these concepts.
Yeah,
You're actually living them.
that's right. And they're not just preparing for the future, they're creating it.
Wow, that's really inspiring. But realistically,
Yeah.
I mean, how do you shift from, a system that's so traditional
Yeah.
to something this radical?
Well, that's where Planetary Citizens is really stepping in,
Okay.
by building and demonstrating this model.
Yeah.
They're really aiming to showcase its potential.
Yeah.
It's a bold step
It is.
towards proving that, another way is possible.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder what would happen if, every school was like this.
Mm-hmm.
What if every young person had the opportunity to learn and grow in such a holistic and empowering environment?
That's a powerful question.
It is.
And that's why what Planetary Citizens is doing is so important.
Mhm.
They're not just talking about change, they're taking action.
Yeah. And speaking of action, they also talk about developing, cottage industries and community shops.
Right.
How do those fit into this model?
Well, it's all about economic empowerment and sustainability.
Okay.
These ventures provide real-world work experience for the youth.
Mm-hmm.
They generate income for the community.
Yep.
And they really connect the community to that larger economic fabric.
So it's about creating this kind of sustainable ecosystem where education, personal growth, and economic empowerment are all intertwined.
Precisely. They're really weaving together all these different aspects
Yeah.
to create this holistic tapestry.
It is a really remarkable concept.
It is.
But, you have to wonder, is it scalable?
Mm-hmm.
Could something like Spectrum Academy work in different contexts
Yeah,
beyond the specific community they're envisioning?
that's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's one that I think Planetary Citizens is really trying to answer.
Okay. Because if this model is as promising as it seems,
Right.
it has the potential to transform education and community development far beyond Arizona.
Absolutely. And, there will be challenges, I'm sure, in adapting it to, different contexts and cultures.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the fact that it exists,
Yeah.
that someone is trying to do things differently is incredibly valuable.
It's a sign that change is possible.
Yeah.
It's kind of a beacon of hope for a better future of education.
It is.
Yeah, it really does feel like they're on to something really special with this.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just talking about reform. They're taking concrete steps to create a model for change.
Absolutely. And I think that's what sets this apart. It's
Yeah.
not just a theory.
Hmm.
They're committed to demonstrating that a holistic and community-based approach to education can actually work.
We've talked about the Peer Community Council and the Community Technology Center, but this document also mentions, cottage industries, community shops.
Right.
It seems like they're creating a whole integrated economic ecosystem.
Exactly. It's about economic empowerment.
Hmm.
It's about teaching these young people practical skills,
Right.
giving them real-world work experience, and creating a sustainable community.
So it's not just about, preparing them for the workforce.
Right.
It's about giving them the tools
Yeah.
to build a future for themselves and their community.
Exactly. And it all kind of circles back to that idea of interconnectedness, doesn't it? The education, the personal growth, the economic opportunities, it's all interwoven.
It's a powerful vision, but I can't help but think about the challenges.
Right.
We live in a world that's so focused on standardized tests and these very traditional metrics of success.
Yeah.
How do you convince people that this kind of approach is worth investing in?
Well, that's where I think the demonstration aspect is so important.
Okay.
Planetary Citizens is really betting that by showing the world what's possible,
Yeah.
they can shift perspectives and inspire others to follow suit.
It's a bold move,
It is.
but if they're successful, it could have, a ripple effect,
Yeah.
influencing education policy and funding decisions far beyond Arizona.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that, change often starts with a single spark,
Yeah.
a single idea that dares to challenge the status quo.
And who knows, maybe Spectrum Academy will be that spark,
I hope so.
igniting a global movement towards a more holistic and community-centered approach to education.
That would be incredible.
It's an inspiring thought
It is.
that the future of education, and perhaps even the future of society as a whole, could be shaped by these young people empowered to create a world that works for everyone.
Absolutely. A world that works for everyone. That's the key.
Well, that's certainly a hopeful note to end on.
It is.
If you're intrigued by what you've heard today, I encourage you to head over to the Planetary Citizens website and explore their work in more detail.
Yes, definitely check it out.
There's a lot more to discover about Spectrum Academy and their vision for a better future.
And who knows, maybe it'll spark some new ideas and possibilities in your own life and community.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep believing in the power of change.
Can't agree more.